welcome to your practice, yogi friends. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be working through a nice, slow but fluid vinyasa today, working on the hips and the spine, specifically working on some external opening of the hip socket, so that sort of outer wrapping of the thigh, the outer wrapping of the hip and the glute. And we'll experiment with opening those spaces with some movements like pigeon pose, where the knee actually externally rotates from the hip. But we'll also have a play with pinning the hips in place and creating rotation in the spinal column as well. So as we start to keep that big pelvic bowl still, can we find movement through the low back, mid back, upper back without necessarily pivoting the hips with the spine as well? So I'll give you a few cues throughout the practice to just explore. Don't worry about getting it right. Just worry about feeling the biomechanics of it and receiving that feedback from your body. If you would like to set up a playlist for your practice today, set it up on a separate speaker. You can find me on Spotify. I will provide the link below for you, and I'll make a suggestion for a playlist that you're more than welcome to use. Otherwise, just find something nice and chill, peaceful meditation, peaceful yoga, something along those lines. For our practice today, I will predominantly just be referencing to a block, but if you like to have a bolster or a blanket nearby that supports some of your postures, then by all means feel free to keep it nearby. And so when you are ready, we are going to begin in a seated meditation. So if you would like to sit on your prop, then just slide it in underneath your hips, somewhere towards the back 2/3 of your mat, facing forward. That way there's some room along the mat in front of you to come out into your tabletop once we're ready. And then allow the ankles to crisscross in towards the hips. Let the knees soften and see if you can relax the inner hip crease. Take a few mindful breaths in and out of the nose. Easy breaths in that soften the shoulders and expand the chest. Easy breaths out that relax the belly, drawing the lungs into the center line. And as you take these slow, mindful beginning breaths, try to minimize the movement occurring in the shoulders. When the shoulders are rising up on that breath in, we're sort of inflating the higher ends of the body and not letting the lower parts of the torso distend to make space for the breath. So what happens for you if you try to keep those shoulders nice and still? Not rigid, but just not moving. And see if you can expand more into the waist and more through your ribs, allowing the breath to become 3D. The ribs widen left to right. The front and the back widen forward and back. And then the base and the heart expand up and down. So exploring all of those directions. Expand the subtle movement of your body into the potential of your breath. And we'll take a few mindful breaths together. Slow and patient inhales with a pause at the top. Slow and patient exhales with a gentle seal at the bottom. But try not to make the seals obsessive or excessive. Just allow them to be these hoverings, these momentary stillnesses before the other side of the breath takes over. And so wherever you are in your cycle of breath, begin to empty the breath all the way out. Inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3. Hold at the top. Relax the shoulders. Lift the center of the heart. And exhale through the nose for 3, 2, 1. Pause at the base. Avoid any experiences of rising anxiety. Let the experience be gentle. Take a breath in for 1, 2, 3. Pause at the top. Soften into the face. Feel the body melt around that central breath. And then exhale through the nose. 3, 2, 1. Allow the body to be empty. Don't feel the constant need to keep it full. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Silence. Simpleness. Exhale through the nose. 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Last breath in. Hold. Last breath out. Hold. Deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Allow that smooth breath to support your practice, to support the movement, the intention. Allowing your practice to be a self-discovery rather than a self-expectation. And taking your time, you can slowly start to open your eyes, finding a soft gaze forward. And then just crawl forward onto your mat, coming into child's pose. So the knees might go wide on the mat. Big toes might connect together. You start to lengthen the arms out towards the top of the mat and soften the elbows to the floor. Forehead melts down. If the head doesn't touch the floor, fold your arms in underneath your forehead. Maybe the forehead is resting on the hands, maybe it's resting on a block. Try to stay away from what you want in your practice, from what you desire, and instead listen to what is genuinely possible.
Remembering that child's pose is available to you at any point in your practice. You don't need permission to come here. Drop to it at any moment that you have allowed your mind to take over the role of the breath. The breath alone should be what inspires openness and groundedness. When the mind is getting obsessive with how the pose should be, take that as a sign to drop out or to drop deeper in to yourself. On the next inhale, rise up into tabletop. As you exhale, the knees zip in, so they're underneath the hips and the wrists are underneath your shoulders. Take an inhale, the tailbone lifts up. Slide the heart through the arms for cat-cow. Exhale, round into the spine. Chin draws into the chest as you push actively into your hands. Inhale, tailbone lifts. Heart slides through the arms. Exhale, round in. Push actively into the hands. Create a nice big rainbow shape as the tail peels towards the thumbs. Inhale, lift the tailbone to the ceiling. Heart slides through the arms. See if you can drop the belly as the collarbone lifts up. Exhale, rounding in. Nice big rounded shape like your body is draped over a ball. Last one, inhale. Heart scoops and slides forward along the mat. Exhale, rounding in. Inhale, come through neutral. And as you exhale, take the weight into the left hand, spread the fingers nice and wide. Inhale, the right arm is going to reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, thread it underneath the left and tap the shoulder in the middle of the mat. Inhale, right arm reaches to sky. Exhale, thread it underneath. Tap the shoulder to the middle of the mat and push down through the back of that right arm. Inhale, take it high. Exhale, thread it underneath. This time we're going to hold, so drop down to that arm. Keep the palm facing up. Take a breath in as you press down through that right elbow. And as you exhale, rotate the left lung open away from the inner elbow. Inhale here, starting to create some space, some breath, where your shoulder blade meets your spine. Relax any tension that's hiding in the neck. And then if you want to take your bind, you can inhale, left arm reaches to the ceiling. Try not to collapse into that bottom shoulder. Exhale, hand binds behind the hip. It slides towards that front right pocket. Take a breath in. Widen the left collarbone. Feel the lung rolling open. Inhale, left arm reaches to sky. Exhale, hand comes down in front of the face. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Breathe kindness across that right lung. Exhale, hand taps to the floor. Tabletop. Other side, inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, thread it through. Keep the palm facing up as the shoulder taps to the middle of the mat. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, thread it under. Inhale, guide it up. Exhale, flow it under. Drop to the shoulder. Press down through that arm. Take a breath in. Breath out. Right elbow is pointing at the ceiling. There's a downward pressure through my right hand that's helping my chest twist. And then if you can keep that left arm nice and strong, fusing into the floor, relaxing into the neck, you can inhale, right arm reaches to the sky. Exhale, it might bind behind. Maybe it's sliding to that left thigh. And if you can get the bind, see if you can slide your left hip into your hand a little bit. And that might even increase what you're feeling through the back. Take one more breath. Right collarbone is opening, sliding, elbow tip pulling back. Inhale, arm reaches up. Exhale, hand comes to the floor. Inhale, left arm swoops up. Exhale, hand comes to the floor. Inhale, lift your heart through your arms, gaze to the top of the mat. And as you exhale, drop to the elbows.
Option to stay here if this is enough for the spine. Option to take extended puppy pose, where you lengthen your arms out forward, but don't let the chest topple forward. Just allow the head to bow down in between your arms, creating a nice big pull of the tailbone back away from the thumbs. Allowing the armpits to relax to the floor. They may not touch the floor, don't force it. If you've got quite a lot of openness in the back, you can bring the chin to the floor. You can look towards your thumbs, provided this doesn't create any harm or any hurtfulness in the shoulders. One more deep breath, press actively into those hands. Inhale, come through to the belly, rolling down into your Sphinx pose. So your pelvis starts to melt to the ground. You walk your elbows forward so that they stay underneath your shoulders, and you have this Egyptian Sphinx shape through the body. The forearms are parallel to each other. There's a lift of the chest. And then start to activate into your feet so that your pinky toes are grounded. You might even feel a lift of the kneecaps off the floor. And then start to interlace your fingers in front of you. And see if you can drive down through the elbow tips a little bit more. Maybe start to lift your nose. Taking one more deep breath. And then inhale, nose points forward. Exhale, lower down to the belly, hands slide either side of your ribs. Inhale, press up through tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees, moving into downward facing dog. As you slowly step the balls of the feet forward slightly, enough to press down through those heels. Remember, it doesn't matter if the heels touch the floor. What matters is that you can express downward through your Achilles heel without necessarily feeling the need to lock your knees. The handprint spreads into the mat. And the armpits, of course, wrap in towards the center of your mat. Take 2 more breaths. Feel as though you could push your hands forward from the base of your shoulder blades. 1 more breath. Inhale, come high onto your toes. Exhale, walk the feet to the top of the mat, maybe keeping the legs long for as long as you can. Once you get to the top, inhale, halfway lift. Start to lift your heart and slide it to the top of the mat. And as you exhale, fold down, soften the knees. Uttanasana, forward fold for 3 deep breaths. So it doesn't matter if your legs straighten here. What does matter is that you feel a significant stretch all the way along the back chain of your body. So for these last couple of breaths, you might like to drop the chin in towards the chest, maybe catch hold of each opposite elbow. We are going to all take hold of the opposite elbows in a moment, but for this last deep breath, wherever your hands are, allow the tailbone to lift or suck up from the heels, relax your head. If you haven't taken hold of the elbows yet, go ahead and do that now, bringing your forearms sort of stacked onto each other. And then on the next inhale, just start to slide left and right. You might even like to separate your feet a little bit here so that you're standing hip distance apart. This will create a little bit more stability in the base as we start to move and sway. And we're going to draw big circles with the body with a focus on that side body. I want you to focus on your waist. And so on the next inhale, slide your elbows to the left, bring them almost parallel to the long edge of your mat. And as you exhale, start to activate down through your left foot. Inhale, push into the left foot, let the right elbow lift as the elbow drags you up away from the floor. Exhale, let the elbows cross over your head and descend down to the right. So the right elbow is going to carry you all the way to the floor. Inhale to cross over from the toes. You drag up through that left side. Elbow starts to lift you. Everything drags up. And as you exhale, you drop down through the right. Inhale to rise. Move with your own breath. Don't worry so much about staying in flow with me. Worry about staying in flow with your breath. We'll do 3 more. You might even find that it feels nice for you to bind your forearms behind your head. 2.
And 1. And then land all the way back down to your toes. Take a moment to release. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right leg steps to the back of the mat. Exhale, drop the heel down, heel to heel alignment, toes slightly turned in. Inhale, warrior 1. Arms slide up towards the ceiling, armpits are pointing forward. As you exhale, lunge into the front leg, press into the outer edge of the back heel. 3 deep breaths. Externally rotate the back thigh so that the front of your back thigh is spinning to the outside edge of your mat. Just as a way of starting to feel into the back leg, you have 1 more deep breath. Option to gaze up towards your hands. Bring your hands together in prayer. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, hands come down, frame into the front foot. Inhale, lift the back heel, lift the left hand, rotate towards the front knee. Exhale, drop the back knee to the floor, reach back, optional catch of that back foot. For 2. Really keep the left chest rolling open here. Try not to collapse to your front knee. See if you can keep everything rolling open and the pelvis melting to the front foot as you explore through that back thigh line. Inhale, release, left arm up. Exhale, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Inhale, left hand comes to the floor. Exhale, step back to plank. Inhale, shoulders slide forward toward your fingertips. And as you exhale, come down into forearm plank as you drop 1 elbow at a time. Try not to drop the pelvis here. You can put the knees on the floor if you're taking an easier practice today, but see if you can dome up out of your upper back so you're popping your heart out through your shoulder blades, and then zip the front of your pelvis up toward your lungs. Take a breath in. Exhale, drop the knees, drop the pelvis. Try not to drop your heart to the floor. Inhale, lift, Sphinx pose. Maybe walk your elbows forward, make those little adjustments that make you comfortable. And then exhale here, feel the compression of the back activate into the feet. Inhale here. Exhale, lower down, slide the hands back either side of your lungs. Inhale, tabletop or high plank. Tuck the toes, press into the hands, lift up. Exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale, right leg kicks back behind you, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, roll open the hip. Imagine that someone's looped a string around your knee and they're dragging it towards the ceiling. 1 last breath. Option to rotate your belly button open to the right. Inhale, lengthen the leg, belly button points down. Exhale, step the foot inside your hands. Give it a scoop if it doesn't make it. Spiral the back heel down, 45. Inhale, warrior 1, arm swoop towards the ceiling. Exhale, lunge deep into the leg. Make sure the outer edge of that back foot stays grounded though. Deep inhale, elbow tips rotate forward. Maybe the prayer position comes together as you gaze up towards your hands. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, hands come down into the heart. Lift your back heel up. Exhale, prayer twist. Left elbow comes over the front knee. Option to drop the back knee. Breathe in as you lift the belly, lift the heart, drive down through the bottom elbow. Exhale, push into the right hand as you twist your bottom lung toward your thumbs. For 2, if the back knee is lifted up off the floor, you're gonna lift the back hamstring up so the back leg is nice and long. 1 last breath. Draw the right shoulder blade to the spine. Option to gaze up. You inhale, back foot steps forward, twisted chair. Exhale, rediscover the twist. Feet are side by side, knees are side by side. See if you can iron out the knees. Sometimes one knee slides way further forward, so see if you can bring them in alignment with each other. And then rediscover the rotation in the spine without necessarily adding the hips. Take 1 more breath there.
Weight towards the heels. Find that sink of the bum, lift of the head. Inhale, arms reach up, lengthen the legs. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left hand plants in front of you. Maybe use a block or maybe come up onto your fingertips. And as you exhale, right hand comes to your right hip and then bend deep into your left knee. So as that right leg straightens and the left leg bends, you start to twist your chest away from the bottom hand, slowly peel the right arm up. So the key of this pose is not necessarily to have your arm in the air. It's more about your chest twisting away from the feet. So I don't care if you keep your hand on your hip the whole time, and then really focus on what's happening sort of all the way through your spine. I care far less about your shoulder joint and more about your spine. Inhale, right hand comes to the floor. Exhale, bend the right knee, left hand to left hip. Start to twist the chest. Inhale, it spirals away from the bottom hand. Maybe there's an exploration of that top arm. So in this way, when we don't rush into that full expression, the lift of the arm becomes a natural extension of what is already happening rather than this intentional lift of the shoulder, something that you're trying to make happen. It just becomes a natural sort of hand signature lift. You inhale, hand comes down. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, catch hold of each opposite elbow, feet widen slightly. Exhale, fold, chin to chest, keeping your arms parallel to each other. Inhale, sway the elbows over to the right. Exhale, find the weightedness, find the sink in that right foot. We move through that lift again. Inhale, push into the right foot. The left elbow is going to drag you up this time. Exhale, you descend over to the left, letting that left elbow drag you to the base. Inhale, come across, start to drag up through the right side. Exhale, find your own descent, moving with your own breath. Try to make the pace of your movements match the pace of your breath. And the movement of your breath doesn't necessarily have to match mine. We all breathe very differently. The muscles that we engage through the practice of our breath actually manifests a different sensation of breath for everybody. So find what is natural to you. Find what is discipline to you. And just take one more cycle. And then finish by dangling down to your toes. Release your hands, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left leg steps to the back of the mat. Exhale, ground the heel, bend the front knee. Inhale, warrior one, arms reach towards the ceiling and you lift the armpits upwards. As you exhale, let the hips melt forward without peeling up the back foot. And remember, I don't so much care if the arms are dead straight. Don't worry about the elbows. Just let the arms be in an expression upwards as a way of lengthening out your fascia on your back. Maybe there's a gaze that drifts upwards. Maybe the palms come to touch. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, hands come down, frame into the front foot. Lift your back heel off the floor. Inhale, right arm reaches to sky. Exhale, drop the back knee, maybe catch the back foot. You don't have to catch the foot. Breathe in. Maybe that front foot has to caterpillar crawl forward or sideways to help manage the balance. Try to avoid dropping that front knee open and just deflating into the flexibility of the hips. Keep some stability there. Stop yourself from falling into what is easy and perhaps discover what is tense, what is tight, and send some breath into those spaces instead. Gently release. Inhale, arm reaches up, tuck the back toes. Exhale, lift the back heel as you lift that top hand to sky. Inhale, right hand comes to the floor. Exhale, step it back to plank. Inhale, lower the elbows, low plank. Exhale, hold, zip the front of the hips towards the heart. See if you can push more into those elbows. Try to drop the bum. Inhale, sink down, Sphinx pose. As the heart lifts, you glide the abdominal wall long. Exhale, come down to the floor, slide your hands either side of your lungs. Inhale, high plank or tabletop. Exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. Pause for the breath. Inhale, left leg moves to sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, roll open the hip. Someone is pulling that knee up towards the ceiling as the foot dangles to the right. Option to rotate the belly button, open to the long edge of your mat. Inhale, left leg lengthens as the belly button turns down. Exhale, step that foot in between your hands. Drop the back heel. Inhale, warrior one, arms reach towards the ceiling. Exhale, find the stability in the legs. Find that sense of groundedness so that the arms can actually be light, have less sort of strength and less aggressiveness in the arms and more sinking and solidarity in the legs. One last breath, optional, gaze up. Exhale, prayer comes through center, lift the back heel. Inhale, right elbow crosses over the front knee. Exhale, left elbow points up to the sky and you drive down through the palms. So they're pushing towards each other. That top hand is driving downwards. The bottom elbow is driving downwards and you're zipping the inner hips slightly together. Take one more deep breath. Remember, you can always drop the back knee. Sometimes when I drop the back knee, I actually find way more rotation in the spine. So it's not about not being good enough. It's about feeling into what feels good for you. On the next inhale, if you dropped the back knee, you're going to lift it back up. Exhale, back foot steps forward, twisted chair. So I really have to sink my bum here because there's a tendency to just sort of fold forward. So see if you can drop the tailbone towards the heels a little bit, lift the center of your chest upwards and keep driving through the left hand as you create that rotation. Belly in, even out your knees. One more breath. Thighs are connected, outer thighs are strong. Wrap the glutes underneath the pelvis. Inhale, reach up, arms gather to the sky. Exhale, fold to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back to plank. Exhale, forearm plank. Take the awkward elbow down first this time. Inhale, Sphinx pose. Drop the pelvis, lift the chest. Exhale, come to the floor. Hands slide back to the ribs. Inhale, high plank or tabletop. Exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. Long breath in. Long breath out. 2 more breaths. Inhale, right leg goes to sky. Exhale, bend the knee, roll open the hip. Feel the hip and the foot slide to the left. Inhale, lengthen the leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the foot inside the hands. Inhale, arms reach to sky, high lunge this time. Exhale, prayer comes down into the heart space. Take a breath in, lift the back thigh up. Take a breath out, lunge the pelvis downwards and press the back heel out. So I'm actually lengthening the back thigh rather than bending the back knee to the floor. I want you to keep pressing the heel as long as it will go as the buoyancy of the pelvis starts to sink downwards to the mat. Take one more deep breath there. Inhale, arms reach to sky. Exhale, prayer twist, left elbow comes over that front knee, drop the back knee to the floor. Inhale, rotate the chest toward your thumbs as the right elbow points to sky. And as you exhale, feel that squeeze of the belly in. Maybe there's a little bit more rotation to be found. One more deep breath. Inhale, look down, tuck the back toes. Exhale, lift the back knee, charge up through the legs. Inhale, left hand comes down in front of the foot. Exhale, right hand peels open to the sky. So this next pose might challenge your balance. You are welcome to take a block underneath that bottom hand, but we're gonna lift into a revolved moon pose. You take an inhale, pop up that back leg, see if you can bring it parallel to the floor. Maybe that bottom hand has to walk forward enough to actually manage your balance. You take 3 deep breaths, flex into your back foot, and drive that heel to the back of the mat as the crown of the head lengthens forward. Take one more breath. If it's too much for that top arm to be in the air, just prop the hand on your right hip. It's no big deal. Inhale, look down. Exhale, that back knee comes towards the right and it hooks behind your front foot. So I'm going to take the knee nice and close to the pinky toe, and then I'm going to sit all the way down to the mat, kicking the foot out from underneath the bum. You take a breath in, lift up through the heart. Hopefully you're getting hot and sweaty like me. Exhale, rotate the hands to the left and hook your right elbow to the inner knee. You take a breath in. I'm just going to keep my forearm parallel to the floor. And then as I exhale, I drive into that elbow, twisting the chest away from the inner thigh. For 2. So we're doing a lot of wringing out of the spine today. For 1. I'm really using that elbow tip to create the rotation in the bones. Inhale, come up through center. Exhale, rotate the other way. Right hand comes behind, left elbow crosses over the knee. And same thing, keep the forearm parallel to the floor for now. Breathe in as you lift the center of your chest upwards. And as you exhale, drive a little bit harder into that elbow tip and see if you can twist your chest beyond your thigh. 2 more breaths. Last one. Really slide your right shoulder back. That might mean you've got to soften your back elbow a little bit so that you can twist the gaze towards the back of the mat. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, release. Inhale, take the weight into the front foot. And as you exhale, kick that left leg out behind you, L shape with the legs. Breathe in here. Breathe out, drop the foot to the back of the mat, spiral the heel down. Inhale, warrior 2, windmill the arms up so that they track your legs. And as you exhale, find that perfect distance between your legs so that you can lunge into the front leg, but it doesn't bother the back foot. And you've still got an active back leg here. So the inner thigh, even if you wrap your left hand around behind your thigh and you grab the inside of your pants seam, and then see if you can lift that towards the ceiling, almost like you're trying to roll the hamstring to point up, and then see if you can hold that and lunge a little bit more into that front leg with a little bit more of an interesting sensation. Take 1 more deep breath. Inhale, turn the toes to the long edge of the mat. Exhale, pause with your palms at the center, push your heels out, turn your toes in. Inhale, widen your arms so that they track your legs. And exhale, take the right hand to the left foot as you fold towards the back edge of your mat. Inhale, reach up, come up through center. Exhale, left hand to your right foot as you fold. Don't drop your chest, instead keep lifting it. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, right hand to left foot. Inhale up. Exhale, left hand, right foot. Pause there, breathe in. Breathe out, take hold of your foot, your ankle, or your shin, wherever your body can reach, and then start to slide your weight forward towards the balls of your feet. So instead of living back in your heels and you're sort of dumping out through your hammies, see if you can bring some weight forward and challenge the hammies to be stable. You take a breath in. Breath out, top arm wraps forward and it starts to come down towards the floor. So you're actually caterpillar crawling your hand as long as it will go, and then option to stay there. That might be enough of a challenge for you. But if you can push the outer seams of your legs wider towards the short edges of your mat, then option to come a little bit deeper. You breathe in, lengthen your heart towards your mat. And as you exhale, pull actively on that leg as you wrap your chest underneath your right armpit for 2. And 1, making sure that you've still got full range and full access to your breathing. Inhale, release. Slowly walk your hands back towards underneath the shoulders. And as you exhale, slowly turn your toes forward, come into frame the front foot. Inhale, right arm reaches to sky, twisting towards the knee. Exhale, reverse Skandasana, drop the back heel to the floor and spin all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Inhale, push through your feet, lift the bottom hip up, and the foot that you can see in front of you, drive down into the floor, hopefully giving you a nice big hip stretch. Take 1 more deep breath here. And out. Inhale, right hand comes to the floor. All 10 toes forward. Exhale, pigeon pose. Heel toe that foot over to the left wrist. And then drop the knee to the right. Inhale, lengthen the back leg. Lift up through the chest. Exhale, stay on your palms, but start to lengthen them forward. So as we did in the other class, we're not in a rush to get down. Just give it some time. Give it some sort of inner zipping of the thighs. Front toe is pulling back towards the shin. And then without collapsing into the pose, welcome to drop to the elbows if it deepens your sensations. If you drop down to your elbows and then there's this deflation that happens and you lose touch with what is deep and meaningful, then come back up onto your hands and stay with that sensation that makes it feel like it's having a positive impact on your body, right? You don't want to just go somewhere that seems deeper, but then you actually lose touch with what you're feeling. That would really defeat the purpose of the variation. Take 1 more breath. Inhale, walk the hands back towards the body. And as you exhale, tuck the back toes and walk the back knee closer in. Inhale, front leg goes to sky in 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, roll open the hip. If you've never met a wild thing before, then just stay here and option to watch. But if you have and you want to move with me, take an inhale, lift the left heel up as you spike down through the left toes. And then exhale, drop the heel to the left as that right foot lands behind you. You inhale, spin the chest up towards the ceiling, right arm might reach behind you. You take a breath in, heart is lifting towards the ceiling, right arm is softening back. You take a deep breath in, deep breath out, come back to the mat as the right hand grounds, right leg lifts, inhale. Exhale, plant the foot, lower the knees, child's pose. Breathing in, breathing out. Few more rounds. So even with the challenges of the body, see if you can keep the rate of the breathing the same.
This helps to build your nervous system's resilience. It helps to improve your ability to manage anxiety, to manage stressful situations. One more breath. And then taking your time, slowly rise, come up onto the hands and knees. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees, downward facing dog. One more breath. Inhale, left leg moves to sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee, roll open the hip. That knee is peeling up as the belly button spins away from the center of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands. Drop the back heel, 45. Inhale, warrior two. Windmill the arms up so that they're tracking your legs. And making sure that the body feels long and smooth. Maybe take the back hand to your back thigh, swooping it behind your hamstring, and then slowly peel the inner seam of your pants up towards the ceiling. Like I said, sort of peeling that hamstring towards the sky. The arms start to iron back out. Maybe find that softness through the arms as you ground into that front heel. Last deep breath in. Last deep breath out. Inhale, windmill the hands down towards the floor. Exhale, lift that left hand up towards the sky, rotating towards that front knee. Breathing in. Breathing out. Keep pressing that back heel towards the back of the mat. Inhale, hand comes to the floor. Exhale, slowly lift the arms up towards the sky. Coming back into that twisting variation. You breathe in as the arms reach up. Exhale, prayer comes down through center, cross your right elbow over the front knee. Welcome to drop the back knee here. Breathe in as you lift your chest, rotate towards the thumb. Exhale, find that depth as you really wring out the spine. Notice that my left elbow is pointing up, not back, so that really driving down towards the floor. Inhale, lift that back knee if you had it on the floor. And as you exhale, take your right hand down in front of your foot and take your left hand to your hip. What will really help you here is perhaps taking the hand closer to the right corner of your mat or putting a hand on a block. You take an inhale, that back foot lifts, L shape with the thighs. Now this pose is pretty challenging, so try not to expect too much from yourself. Instead, just tune into the cues and get curious with what is happening. Start to flex into your back foot and drive it backwards. And then if you can, bring your bottom hand closer in front of your foot and start to twist your chest to the left. It's going to challenge your standing leg quite a bit, and that's okay. Be with the breath. See if you can draw your left shoulder blade towards your spine. Maybe start to lift that top hand to the sky. One more breath. Inhale, left hand comes to the floor. Exhale, that back knee comes towards the left corner of your mat. You drop the sit bones to the floor and take that bottom foot out from underneath your bum. You take a breath in, lift up through center. Breath out, rock to the right as you take your left elbow to the inner knee. And that's going to be what creates this rotation in the thoracic spine. You breathe in as you lift the center of the chest up. You breathe out as you drive into the elbow and twist the chest. 2. And 1.
Inhale, look forward. Exhale, counter twist. That left hand's going to come behind you. Right elbow crosses over the knee. You breathe in as you suck the front of the lungs up. Exhale, drive into that elbow. And notice I've still got my forearm parallel to the floor. I'm really wanting to focus on the spine, not so much on the shoulders. So I'm relaxing the shoulders down and I'm bending that back elbow. One more deep breath. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, gently release. Inhale, take the weight to the front foot. Exhale, pop the back leg out, L shape with the legs. Inhale, put the foot down at the back of the mat. Exhale, drop the heel and turn the toes to the right, walking your hands to the long edge of your mat. And then pressing your heels open and turning your toes in. I'm going to spin around so that you can still see the shapes. You take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We feel into the length of the inner thighs. Before we lived in this pose, I just want you to drop the weight of the elbows, drop the weight of the head. You might even find that your forearms melt all the way to the floor. Take 2 more breaths. Lift the inner arches of your feet toward your hips. Feel this gentle rock of the weight forward and backward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend the knees and start to rise so we can come back into our twist. You inhale, open the arms out parallel to the legs. Exhale, left hand finds the right foot. It slides across. Don't dump your chest. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, right hand comes across. Inhale, up. Exhale, across to the right. Inhale, up. Exhale to the left. So the right hand lands in front of those toes. You lift that left arm up with a rotation of the chest. You might like to stay there. You might like to come into the bind with me, where you take that right hand to the outside of the foot, the ankle or the shin. It doesn't matter. But you take a breath in, lift your heart away from the floor. We're not collapsing down. You exhale, top arm spirals forward and it reaches away from your mat. And so this is where you're going to get the chest sort of rolling to face downwards. That might even feel really good for you to keep the center of the sternum rotating down to the floor. And if that feels like a beautiful stretch through your upper back, then just stay there. But if you do want to create that deep rotation, you take a breath in. Imagine sliding your heart towards your left elbow. And then exhale, pull actively on the right hand, bend the elbow so that you can rotate the chest underneath the left armpit. We take 3 deep breaths. Find the spaces in your body where you're trying really hard. See if you can soften some of those spaces. Press through the outer edges of your legs so that they're sort of widening away from the center. Breathe. Inhale, that left arm reaches back up. Exhale, bend the knees, rise back up, arms lengthen. Inhale at center. Exhale, turn the toes forward as the hands come down, frame the front foot. Inhale, lift the back foot up. And as you exhale, lift that left hand up and turn your toes to the left as the back heel drops to the floor. Breathe in, reverse Skandasana, bottom hip lifts. Exhale, drive down through the front heel, create that stretch in the outer left hip. Inhale, left hand comes to the floor. Toes turn forward. Exhale, step back to your plank. Inhale, drop the elbows. Exhale, drop the knees, drop the pelvis. Use the inhale to lift up through the chest. Exhale, slide to the floor. Hands come back to the lungs. Inhale, press up, plank or tabletop. Exhale, roll back, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale, left leg moves to sky. Exhale, pigeon pose, knee comes behind the wrist, foot clicks across to the right. Drop the back knee, lengthen out the back leg. We take an inhale as the heart expands. Take an exhale as the hands walk forward, but don't collapse downwards. Stay with what is meaningful. Stay with what is interesting. And above all, make sure that you stay with your breath. Maybe there's a drop of the elbows if the body starts to communicate to you that it's welcome. Last breath. Inhale, walk the hands back towards the body. As you exhale, tuck the back toes and walk the back knee in. Inhale, three-legged dog, front leg goes to the sky. Bend the knee and roll open the hip. Option to stay there, option to take your wild thing. You breathe in as the right heel lifts. Please don't rush. As you exhale, the heel drops to the right and the foot lands behind you. Inhale, spin the hips towards the ceiling. I like to ground my left heel and then I lift that left arm back behind, finding a full extension of the front body. Take a breath in. Make sure that bottom wrist, bottom shoulder is happy. Breathe out. Inhale, left hand comes back to the floor, the left leg lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog, drop down to the knees, child's pose. Patient breaths. Let the experience flood through the system. The wave grows and then subsides. And then on the next inhale, slowly start to walk your hands back toward your body. And as you exhale, drop your hips to the right. The feet will kick softly out to the left. And then on the next inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, take the left hand to the floor, walk it away from your feet, and slowly start to arch to the left. And so it's not so much about how far sideways you can go. You can, even if this top shoulder is a bit tight, you can take the hand behind the back of the head and focus more on the right elbow and how much that can spread away from the right hip. One more breath. Try to loosen what is rigid, let go of what is meant to be perfect, and instead just lose yourself to the sort of watery quality of your emotions and your sensations. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring the feet back underneath you and then switch to the other side. So drop the hips to the left, kick the feet out to the right. And take a breath in as the arms rise up. Exhale, the right hand comes to the floor and walk it away from your feet. And then just let that be the widening of the waist. Pause there, take a breath, let the belly button sort of drop back into the spine. And as you exhale, there's a slow tilting of that left arm sideways, which will help stretch out all that fascia from the left armpit all the way down to the left hip. And as I said before, if the shoulder's bothering you, just tuck the hand behind the head. It's no big deal. It doesn't negatively impact on the pose in any way, whether you have your arm straight or not. Inhale, reach it up. And as you exhale, lengthen your legs out in front of you. And then shuffle forward on your mat so you've got a little bit of room behind you. Take a breath in as you lift your chest and pull your toes back towards you. As you exhale, start to fold into Paschimottanasana, leaning the chest forward towards the knees. I'm purposely not going to grab for my feet. I'm just going to let my hands melt either side of my legs, and I'm going to drop the elbows towards the floor and round into the upper back, and just letting my body relax here. So start to switch off your legs. I know normally we take this as a really active variation, but for the sake of today, can you just relax it all away? Bring a little bit more of a yin intention into the moment. Everything drops. Drop the weight of the head away from the shoulders. And let the shoulders relax away from the jawline. Everything just falls to gravity. Don't worry what the pose looks like. Just start to worry about feeling heavy. Two more deep breaths. Breathe through the upper back, the spine, the legs. Inhale, slowly grow up away from the floor. And exhale, come down onto your back. As you inhale, open the arms out to 9 and 3 o'clock. As you exhale, bring the knees into the chest and start to sway them side to side. Gently let the knees drop all the way to the right. Keep the knees moving sort of towards that elbow rather than letting them drop away and creating this nice sort of big long space through the belly. Keep the knees sort of up in line with the belly button. And then you can hold the knees down with the right hand, start to shuffle the upper back so that your upper back can lay flat or at least close to flat. And then maybe the gaze drifts across to the left. Final reclined, easy twist. Breathe through the spine. Slow everything down. Relax the right shoulder if it's purposely trying to push you deeper into the rotation. And then let it go. Inhale, the knees come back up to center. Exhale, maybe shuffle the hips a little bit to the right so that you can bring the knees up and drop them to the left. Remember to keep the knees roughly in line with the belly button and then catch them with the left hand so they stay down. A little shuffle of that left shoulder helps to iron the upper back out. And then look across to the right if it feels okay for the neck. The intention of the practice starts to slow down. Everything becomes a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more relaxing, Less push, more yield. And then take your time to let go of the knees and bring them back to center. And as you exhale, final pose, happy baby. Just start to bring the knees up in toward your armpits and bring your arms inside your legs. So the elbows actually cross inside the knees. And then catch hold of the outside edges of your feet. If you can't do that, just hold onto your ankles and you can keep your feet close together so that your shoulders stay pressed into the floor. But if the shoulders stay down and the head stays down while you catch the outside edges of the feet, then grab hold of them and slowly pull the feet back so that they stack on top of the knees. 3 long, deep breaths here, pressing up through the heels, dropping down through the shoulders, feeling the collarbone broaden. Maybe there's even this subtle sway side to side, massaging across the muscles either side of your spine. Maybe for you, it's influencing what you're feeling in the hips. And then taking your time to just bring the heels back together. Feet land on the floor. The yogi's choice. You can straighten out the legs, maybe put a bolster underneath the knees here if you like, or you can bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop open wide in a sort of diamond shape, also known as reclined butterfly, and then let your arms fall to their natural space. They might drop open. You might feel drawn to keep your hands touching the body, maybe one to the belly, one to the chest. But let your naturalness just express itself. Shavasana. There is a simpleness that drops into the moment here. The absence of goal, the absence of action. But there is still a presence that is motivated towards itself. The integration of the self with the greater universe, the greater collective. One of the most powerful things I read, learning to deepen my meditation, was that as you become more aware of yourself, the universe becomes more aware of itself. And so just let that oneness envelope you for a while. Lay here for as long as you need. If any of the positions you've chosen start to feel uncomfortable, just lengthen the legs back out. And when it is time to finally leave this space, do so slowly and mindfully, rolling out to one side and letting yourself sit up. But there is no rush. soak in all the bliss that you put the effort in to create. And I thank you for sharing that blissful practice with me. Namaste.